guys.
A shit show, a pure shit show. It literally takes a village. Like,
I don't know if it was dirty or clean.
oh my God.
Bad mom.
Like,
I'm
wild.
Yes.
Because I'm shining.
Woo! That was good, guys.
Marianne, do you love to shop?
Do I and can I are two different answers.
Okay,
Do I love
let's
to?
tell us.
Yes. Can I? No.
Why can't you?
Because I'm always like on a budget.
You can shop on a budget though. There's ways.
Yeah, but the things I want are never cheap.
Oh, excuse me, Miss
Or
Fancy Pants.
no, it's not that. Like I just am too lazy to look for the cheaper stuff. So I'm like, forget it.
Really? I love
Amen
looking
to
for a
that.
better price. That's
I
one
just
of my
don't have
like,
time. I don't have time.
The energy that it takes for it, no. And I feel like too, because I grew up like broke, like we didn't really shop a lot, you know, and we would shop for like special occasions, and it was like, okay, we're gonna get an outfit for this graduation, you know, so then we would do that. And it was exciting back then when I was younger, but now that I'm older, I'm like, I see how much everything costs, and I'm like, oh my gosh, the budget, you know.
Yeah.
So I actually like shopping for other people more than myself, but that started really young. Like my parents would always give me like $20 to go to like a field trip. You know, you would go to your elementary school field trips, and it was like Six Flags, for example, or Knott's. And they're like, oh, here's $20. You can spend it on food and buy something at the souvenir shop, you know, and it's always like $50 at the souvenir shop. But I was so indecisive that I would always come back with like a little notebook for my sister and like something for my like siblings. I always got like just a little trinket, like a little pen or a little notebook or whatever to bring home to them. And they'd be like, oh, cool, you thought of me. And then that was it. Like I never bought anything for myself because it felt like I could never make up my mind of what I wanted. And I kind of feel like I'm still like that. Like I'd rather shop for other people. But when I'm and like as a stay-at-home wife, I feel like it's hard for me because for the longest time, I didn't feel like it was my money to shop for somebody else, you know? So I always felt like I was a cheap ass. Like, I don't want to spend his money on all these other people's gifts, you know? So that was hard.
True.
Really? I feel like you guys already know the answer about this for me. I hate shopping. It's so annoying.
Shut
Like-
up. Really?
I'm like, what?
I love shopping, but I'm like you too. I really enjoy shopping for other people. Like, I don't know. I'm a giver. So like, I love like people's reaction and they know that I'm thinking about them. Like, so I love shopping for other people. I love shopping in general, but I've learned to be better at it, and I'm budget friendly now. There was a time where I would just throw it in the bag, but now
Max out the cards.
I've gotten so much better. I'm so proud of myself. But yeah, but shopping is my extra hobby. I love
Well, I
shopping.
feel like this episode is perfect for you because you have all the tips and tricks of how to budget and get it for good prices. And I'm excited to dive on
I
in.
don't know about all
It's like the
that.
sex episode we all learned from Ryan.
Whatever.
With all your tips and tricks. You're just winning at life. You're winning at life, my friend. When you were a kid, would you guys make a wish list?
I for sure would make a wish list, but growing up, we were really poor, so I knew I would make a wish list, but it was literally a wish list. Like I was literally wishing and praying to God, like, please let me get this. Like it would be something so expensive. Like I would be like, I want the new Jordans, and I knew that I could not get them. Like I knew it, but I would wish and I would pray for them. But it was just a wish, because pretty much everything that I would put on my wish list, I probably did not get. I'm sure I didn't get. But
I never had a wish list. I think because it was just my mom, like our income was hers only, you know. I would always feel guilty like asking for like a lot of things. So not that we were poor, but we also weren't rich, you know, so I just felt bad having a wish list. So I would just be like she would put Santa on all the gifts, but we always knew it was her, but we never we never said anything like, how come Santa didn't give me this? Or I asked Santa for this, you know? So I never had a wish list. I don't know about my brother. but I never
Even
did.
when you were little, you didn't think it came from Santa? Like you knew, like when you were landing in Levi's age, like you knew her saying Santa was her? Or did you believe it at some point?
I never believed it at some
What?
point, but she always like, but uh, for some reason it was never like a thing that was brought up at our house. But she wrote it on the like on the presents in their tree, and but I would help her wrap the gifts, and I would see her write Santa. So it's like it never was like she never did like like now we do like this the elf on the shelf and all the extra little magical things like. She never had time for it, and she never like thought to do it, and it never was a thing to her, or like it never was a thing for her to throw Santa as a thing for us to think was real. Like Landon thinks Santa's real, but now it's like different times, and it's me and my husband. Like it was just her back then, and we were raised not to ask for a lot of things, kind of thing.
Now, how was that? Like, because she told you not to ask, or would she explain her money situation to you guys? Like, how do you get a kid to like understand, like, hey, I'm not going to ask for extra? Because I feel like
kids ask for
a lot of
everything.
kids ask for
Because like,
everything.
well, for me personally, I can't speak for my brother, but like for me, I always got hand-me-downs. Like I got, if you look at my pictures when I'm little, I'm wearing boy clothes in all the pictures, big ass baggy boy clothes, and I'm like she's never gonna buy me anything. So that was my mentality. Like we can't afford it, or I'm not gonna ask, because if we did go somewhere and we went to the mall, like when I asked for things, like I never got it. So I'm not gonna ask for like special things at Christmas. I don't know. For what growing up, I just never, I had the mentality that I can't ask for it. Like just be happy with what I got, kind of thing.
Did you see her like financially struggle, or did you see like how hard she worked, or like how did you grasp that at
I
such a young
saw
age?
that because she was never home, and like at a young age I always wanted her there, and I remember like writing reports at school. I got like a huge award for like one of the reports I wrote in 5th grade for like, and I was so blunt about everything on there, and I was like, I wish my mom was home when I woke up or when I came home from school, but she's not, and da da da. Like, so I think back then I knew she was always working for us, and because I saw like our lifestyle, like I had hand-me-downs, and she would take us to the mall every now and then, or like I think like every other Sunday we would go. But when we would ask, she'd be like, we can't afford that, that's too expensive. So in my head things started that was an answer for everything I asked. It's too expensive, no, like get this. And it was something I didn't want, but it was cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I think growing up, it just was instilled in me, like just to be happy with what I got, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah.
never made a wish list. Like I'm sure there were things I was like, I wish I had, but I never wrote it down or told anyone.
That's it. That's
It's sad, I know.
No, it's funny because even though we didn't get a lot of stuff on our wish list, we still like that was so the funnest part was making the wish list.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like my mom never really told us, hey, here's catalog, make a wish list, but we would get the Sunday newspaper and we would go through it and we would cut stuff out that we wanted and we would paste it, and it was like a big thing to like wish for it,
Yeah.
and then I want to say we wouldn't get the exact things that we wanted, but we would get like a
Something
version
similar.
of it.
Yeah.
Something similar but less expensive. But if I wanted a pink Barbie Jeep, and then they got a red Jeep to share with all 5
Everyone
kids.
else.
And it's like, no, I want a fucking pink Barbie Jeep. Like,
For
I don't want to share.
myself.
That was my
Single
wish.
rider.
That wasn't everybody's wish, So it was things like that, or like I wanted a little mermaid Barbie doll because and then I got just a different mermaid Barbie doll. She was blonde, and I'm like, this is not Little Mermaid. So like,
this is not Ariel. What
this
is
is
this?
not Ariel. So I would get things like that where it was like you would get something, but it was not what exactly that you wanted, And now that I think back of it, like, I mean, I would pretend to be grateful, but in my heart, I was like, fuck, man, why can't you just get me what's on the list? Like, I'm making it very easy for you. I'm cutting out a picture. How hard is it, And isn't it sad? Like now as an adult, you understand
Yeah,
like there's 5 kids. There's no way you can like. I mean, obviously there is some ways people can do like people do it,
Make it happen.
but yeah, I get it. I get hard times now. I get it.
You understand.
So when you guys were young, would they buy you guys gifts and your extended family, or was it just you guys?
They would buy everyone gifts, like, and we had a huge family. Like I have over 100 cousins.
Oh my gosh.
So like my mom's side, she has, I want to say there's 10 siblings, and my dad's side had 11 siblings. So like they would buy gifts for us, like my grandmas on both sides, some of the closer cousins that were always around. She would buy gifts for everyone. So I think too that's why like I knew we didn't have a lot of money.
Now, growing up that way, and as a kid, knowing you're not going to get shit on your wish list, but mom's going to buy all the cousins gifts, like, was that hard for you to swallow? I feel like I don't know, maybe I was a shit of a kid, but I would have thought, like, how about you not buy all my cousins gifts and maybe buy me something that I want?
Like, thinking back on it, like, I know there were times that she would buy me things that I did want, but it wasn't for Christmas. Like, I remember being obsessed with those trolls, like the troll dolls, you know, and like every time a new one was released, she would take me, like, if it was a 2-hour drive, she would take me to go get it. So I knew there were things that she would like spend money on me, but it wasn't necessarily just for Christmas. So she made me feel special in that way. Like, okay, you're not going to get like everything you want for Christmas or whatever, but you do get things like all throughout the year kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Roni?
For me, when I was younger, it was just like the immediate family, because like I mentioned, we didn't have a lot of money, so they weren't like spending money on everyone. It was just like my grandma, my dad, my mom, me, like they would do gifts like that. But now I feel like they do gifts for everyone, not just immediate family, because they're a little more in a better financial state, so they can do so. And my mom is like super bad. She's worse than me. Like she buys everyone a gift, like everyone, like the mailman. She is the mailman a gift. Yeah, she's like way worse with Christmas than I am. So yeah.
So when we were younger, like when I was really young, I remember one of my aunt's husbands would dress up as Santa Claus, and we would all, like, there were so many cousins too. We were a big, Mexican family, and everybody would go to the house and we would see a Santa Claus and stuff. But I guess my parents were the ones that would bring one gift per their child, for each of their children. And they would give it to Santa Claus in advance, and then Santa would pull out the gift and give it to you. So that was cool. But I feel like that ended pretty early in my life. Like maybe I was like 4 when it ended. And then after that, my Nana made it like my grandmother, she made a rule, like no gift giving at my house, because we would always go to my Nana's house, and she's like, I don't want it to be about gifts. I want it to, everybody just come, have a good time. We have all this food and just enjoy each other's company. No stress about buying everybody a gift. So it's funny because some of the tias would still give gifts secretly, but they would have to do it secretly. Like they'd call you in the room, like, hey, come over here. And then they'd give it to their favorite niece or nephew. And you would see them come out of the room and you're like, you fucker got a gift,
got a gift.
Yeah. But like she tried to keep it like, and then as we got older, they would do kind of like a gift exchange, like not a gift exchange, but like a white elephant type of thing, kind of thing. But that's when she was older. So like she didn't coordinate it. That was coordinated from my aunts. But yeah, we weren't really, that was one good thing that like my parents didn't have to buy all the nieces and nephews gifts, because I feel like they would have gone broke. That's a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot. Do you guys buy gifts for extended family or gift exchanges?
We used to before we had kids. Like Adam and I would get like so just how when we were little, we would, like, my mom would buy gifts for each family's kids. So when I got with Adam and he would join us for our family stuff, I would buy gifts for all my godchildren and like cousins, kids that I'm close with. And then as we started having our own kids, it got expensive. And he's like, dude, we cannot buy all these people these gifts kind of thing. So
I wonder if it's always the guy that nips it, because that's just like, I used to get jobs only to pay for Christmas gifts for everybody else. Like it was
like
like a
seasonal
seasonal,
jobs.
yeah, like a seasonal job, because I hated fucking working. And then I would just get like a job at like Forever 21 or something, just so that I could save up like 400, $500, and then buy like my mom and my
Everybody.
sister and everybody in the family gifts. And this is, yeah, this is, well, I was the first one to have a kid, so I still liked like buying everybody else gifts, and then everybody would buy my son a gift because he was the only one forever. But now that we have such a huge immediate family, like we have 10 grandkids, no, nobody buys gifts
No?
anymore for Christmas. No, that stopped. We used
You're
to
like, there's
when
too
it was
many.
smaller, but now there's so many that everyone's like, your kids are on your own, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, because to
Yeah.
me, I just would rather just get together, you know, than nothing at all.
Yeah.
True.
For us, we do. We buy we buy gifts for like my husband, niece, and nephew that are out of state, all my
Wow.
cousins, my grandma, his parents, his aunt.
my
Like, yeah,
gosh.
we do. We said, like I noticed now, like his parents and stuff, they're like, oh, we should just pull names or something because I don't think they like it gets too expensive, like
Yeah.
at a point when you have to buy gifts for everyone. Um, but I don't know. I budget for it in advance so that I do it because I feel like they know the gift is I've been doing it for so long. I feel like why stop now when we've been doing it all these years.
Well,
And
they're
there was
expecting it.
kinda. And there was even a point when like with my friends, we would do gifts for each other. And then when we started having kids, we cut off each other. And at one point we would do the gifts for just their kids. But then that got too overwhelming because everybody started having kids. And I'm like, oh, I get my gifts for all of my friends' kids.
Mhm.
So there's just bare minimum sometimes where I'll get my friends' kids stuff. But for the most part, we get them for all the family and extended family. Yeah.
Dang,
And
that's
even
a
sometimes,
lot.
yeah, even sometimes my husband will throw in like a handful of clients that he's like, we got to get gifts for them. And he puts me up to all of the shopping, like in charge of getting all those people gifts. So,
Lucky
yeah,
you.
not
We'll do
lucky.
like a gift exchange on my husband's family, and we'll pick a name sometimes, and we'll have like a $25 gift limit,
Yeah.
or we'll do like a white elephant game, which is really fun, and we'll do like a $25 gift. And there was one year that we did like a used gift or re-gifting type of theme, or make your own gift. Like somebody brought like a freaking toilet plunger and put like a bunch of rolls of toilet paper on it. So I love his family because it's a lot smaller than my family, and they get really creative, and they all love doing like stuff like that, and they put in the effort, you know. Like my family's so big that I feel like everyone's just so, not that they're busier than one or the other, but like they're not, it's not the same at all, you know. Like they
Yeah.
don't enjoy like those extra things that his family does. So I love going to their family because they have all kinds of like organized games, you know. I love games. So
Nice, 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 nice.
How early do you guys start saving for Christmas?
Roni money bags over
Because
there.
I don't save.
I start saving for my Christmas shopping. Honestly, I feel like I start saving in the beginning of the year. I
Oh
feel like I
my
start saving
gosh.
in the beginning of the year, like each month, because we have so many people to buy for. Each month, I put like a little money away for Christmas, and then I even start as early as like in the summer getting Christmas gifts because I have so many to get.
Now,
So,
is that in a separate account that you save it in, like a Christmas
mhm.
account?
We like
And
I'll put it in like usually my savings, but I keep track of like what I already had and what I'm putting away each month for Christmas. But
Where do you put that? Where do you put that? Like in a spreadsheet? Tell me
yes, we
everything.
put
Yeah.
it. So we kind of have a spreadsheet for everything.
Mm-hmm.
So my husband, so we have a spreadsheet for daily expenses. We have a spreadsheet for family vacations. We have a spreadsheet for like even my nails that I get every 2 weeks. Like pretty much everything that we spend, we try to put it in a spreadsheet. It had got so defined to where if I bought a coffee, I would put it in the spreadsheet. But I'm not that bad.
Wow.
But I'm not that bad anymore because then that got so tedious, and I was like, okay, I forget the Starbucks coffee. Like I'm not putting that in there. I'm just putting like the main expenses or big expenses. So I keep it in a spreadsheet. I keep my Roni's Christmas fund, and then I'll start January. And even if it's something as small as like I'm putting away $10 a month, $20 a month, just it adds up to when it gets to like November. By that time, I have enough to like, shop for family and stuff. So I start
So
January.
your spreadsheet itself, is that on like a Google Drive or something that you can access on your phone, or where, like, is it on an app? Is it at home on your computer and you have to type it in every time you get home? Like,
So I do it like either weekly or I'll do it like every 3 weeks. And it's on my husband's computer because we share. It's like a splitted spreadsheet and it has a little tabs at the bottom. So it's also joint with like other spreadsheets. So there's just a section at the bottom. I pull the tab and pull it up. But I also keep the notes in my phone. Like I'll have it in my phone under notes, and then I'll say like, cause sometimes I'll forget to like put money away or something, but I'll make a note like, oh, now this month double it because you forgot in February. So then you want to in March. So I track on my notes, and then when I have time, I'll come down and just enter it in the spreadsheet.
that's really good. And so how much per person do you usually set aside for a gift?
So it depends because I kind of now like I go from age because like something that I would buy like a 3-year-old versus buying a 15-year-old is going to be totally different in cost because I feel like their stuff is going to cost a little more. So it just depends on the person and by age and like if it's my mom or if it's my grandma. So I kind of try to set a budget per person, but kind of to their age, if that makes sense.
So it's more for older people than it is for younger people.
I set the younger people a budget too, but theirs is not as large as probably the someone who's a little bit older that I know I'm going to need to spend a little bit more money on versus like 2-year-old. You can kind of get them like a little Barbie, those little Barbies that don't have any hair in the middle. They don't care.
Yeah,
If you guys
okay. So
remember,
like a $10 Barbie. Okay, so we're not
yeah.
talking like crazy $50
No,
gifts for
because
each person.
oh, absolutely not. Because I have to budget because I'm getting so many gifts that I can't get everybody a $50 gift. That would be insane. So I have to budget according to the age, like a baby, like a stuffed animal or something, or I'll make them a little. I try to get creative too. Like I'll go bargain shop and make them like a little basket or something, and it may look like a lot of items, but those items were not expensive, so I'm able to give them a nice gift, but it was still, I budgeted, but it looks like, oh my god, like you did all this, and I'm like, yes, some of those items came from 99-cent store, but they have good stuff sometimes, so I do like that.
Yeah.
Wow. It's a
Wow.
good
Well,
idea.
it
What
helps
about
a
you,
lot.
Ronnie? I mean, Marianne.
Do I have a budget for each gift?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Marianne says she's horrible with budgeting
I'm
though.
terrible, but
So
I
when do you
feel like
start
okay,
when do you start shopping then for Christmas?
like if so it's weird because so we'll spend the holidays, we'll alternate. So like 1 year we'll be up north, 1 year we'll stay home. So every other year we're spending a lot more because when we go up north, we gotta buy gifts for like all the little cousins and all the extended family. But when we're staying home the following year, it's just us. So if it's just us, like we keep track of like, okay, Landon's into dinosaurs right now. So he's probably gonna love dinosaurs in December. So like if we see something on sale, like during the summer that is something he'll potentially ask for, we'll grab it. Like,
it doesn't have to be on sale, or is it just being sold at that time? Like if you just see something at the store and you're like, oh, this is dinosaur, I'm gonna get it. Or
like
does it
if
have to
it's
be like
something like he's
discounted?
pointed out before, like, I don't know, like these Lego dinosaur things, this Jurassic World thing, he's like mentioned it multiple times before, but like you look and like freaking Lego sets are $80 or
I
some
know.
crazy number, and then you see it at Costco and it's only like $20. I'm like, oh, let's get it now because it's probably not gonna be $20 very long, or it's not gonna be here very long. So we'll do like throughout the year, like if we notice something that he's mentioned before or like we think he's gonna like and it's like kind of cheaper than it normally is, we'll grab it. So we don't really like budget. We just kind of like start collecting, or like during Black Friday or Cyber Monday, like we'll look at the deals then and just buy whatever we think the kids are gonna like.
So do you calculate? So since you're buying stuff like randomly at times, do you have a number, or do you calculate like, oh my God, I've already spent X amount of money for Christmas, or you just don't know? You just like, I get it, and
No.
this is Christmas.
I think because like I grew up not getting things that I wanted, like we kind of like, and I don't know for my husband, I think like he kind of almost grew up like as a single child, even though he has two older, like way older sisters. They treated him like a single child, so he got whatever he want. But so we kind of spoil the boys. Well, at least Landon, like this will be Levi's second Christmas now. So we're still kind of adjusting like to get Levi stuff in now, but like we would just spoil Lennon. Like he'd get 6 gifts from us and 4 from Santa, or you know, we just
And you wouldn't
because
know.
I'm
Assign whatever you want.
yeah.
Yeah. And then afterwards, would you, since you're not budgeting, would you be like, oh man, I'm tight the next year, and I mean the next month, you know, and kind of have to rebudget or like be a little bit tight on
I
money?
think like for
Or
my
would it
husband
always?
and I, we both know that this like the end of the year and the beginning of the year, we're gonna be broke because Christmas and traveling like between our families, and then January is Levi's birthday, and then February is Landon and my husband's birthday and Valentine's. So we're everything is celebrated like around that time. So we're like, oh, there goes all our money. So we kind of like know not to spend so much because we know the holidays are coming up and then we have all the birthdays we got to do. So we don't like sit down and do like the spreadsheets and stuff, but like mentally we know like, oh shit, like the big stuff's gonna start coming up. So try
And do you
not to
guys
spend.
pull? Do you guys pull from your savings, or do you guys pull from like charge it on the credit card and then just pay it back?
Oh, we don't really have a credit card.
Really?
No,
Oh, okay. So
we
then
don't
everything
really.
is just paid off then.
Pretty much.
Oh, so then you're not in debt after because you guys pay cash.
Mhm.
That's cool.
Good.
Why do you, can I just ask? Because I'm sure the listeners are going to wonder.
I
Why?
think
Everything
like
on the listeners, Janelle.
Just because the listeners, not because I'm nosy.
for me, I think because my mom gave me a credit card when I was younger, like 20s, I maxed it out and just didn't know the value back then. And like she ended up would end up telling me like, dude, you maxed out the card and like now I'm in debt and da 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 da. So it kind of like taught me to be aware like, oh shit, credit cards are bad and da da da. Like she would give me a Target card and like it would be maxed out in within a month because I didn't know. Like I was buying like because I had money back then, I would buy everyone everything. Like my little circle of friends were spoiled because I would buy them whatever they wanted. And yeah,
Your
it
Target
was
card.
bad. And I think too, because I didn't have money when I was little. So I'm like, oh, I have money. I'm going to buy everyone everything kind of thing.
Yeah.
So now that I understand the value of money, I'm like, oh, I don't ever want a credit card. So my mentality is not to ever like put myself in that kind of situation. And I don't ever need to. Like I always kind of had enough money to just pay for what I needed. And then like I think with my husband, he's like with his previous marriage and like just in his past, he's been in debt because of credit cards. So
Mm.
once those got paid off, he was like, yeah, we're not
I'm
doing
done
credit
with
cards.
them.
Yeah.
Oh, so you guys were like in agreement. That's
Yeah.
cool. So then how like what are ways that you guys build credit other than with credit card? Just like with your
Like
paying
our
your bills and finances?
cars, our bills. I don't know. Is like whatever,
That's
like the
cool.
big things we buy. Like, well, he'll have to like pay it in like installments.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, we would kind of wait till, so I don't know about you guys, but we get paid, or he gets paid bi-weekly. So we would wait till there's a month. I don't know if it's October or November where they get 3 paychecks. Your
Mm-hmm.
husbands get three
Yeah.
paychecks in a month, or like at 1 month, I think it's
Yeah.
October or November. So we would always
October.
use the extra paycheck towards the end of the year for Christmas gifts.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so it just so like even if we were tight the whole year, if like that third paycheck came, it just so happened to be like perf timing, you know. And we would always like put it on our credit card, but then use that money to pay it off just because we like to do that, to build points and stuff. But now we just paid off one of our like cars. So instead of canceling that account that the money was automatically going into, we just made that like a Christmas fund. So every month, like I think the car was like a $245 payment. So
You keep
every
putting the same
month
amount.
it just keeps going into that account. So then I'm like, that should be for Christmas and you know, and like birthday presents and maybe a
Oh, that's
little
cool.
cabin trip, you know, like things like that that you can kind of just, it'll be like a sinking fund where it's always just kind of going in. So we just started that in July. But for next year, okay, so I learned about this like budgeting thing, like budget for a whole year. And I'm like obsessed. And it's basically like Ronnie was saying with like spreadsheets and stuff. And they actually budget for like 5 years out. But their plan is like, anyway, they put everything in a spreadsheet. And so we did that. And then I think we're going to go back to it, like those months. I think it's March and October that he gets a third paycheck, and we'll just get that paycheck and put it in an account for all like the holidays, everybody's gifts and stuff like that. So we already have it, and vacations too. So we already have that locked up. So that's the plan for next year. We'll see. We'll see, because he's
You'll
already
have to
talking.
keep us updated.
We
if it
literally talk
works.
about it, and then he's like, "Oh, so I'm gonna get an extra paycheck, you know, next week." And I'm like, "Yeah, we already
That's the
spent it mentally,
fun.
you know, like, don't be so excited. It's like it's already
It's
spent."
gone already.
Yeah.
Are you
Do you guys have a set budget for each of your child,
Oh, I see.
or so you're saying like Marianne, you said you guys just kind of get them whatever you
Whatever.
feel like getting them. But and then Roni, I know you have a set budget for each one of your like family members, but what about your kids?
Yeah, for sure. My kids have a budget for each. That's originally how I came across the budget for the age, because they would make a wish list and they would have different things on there. And like the older they were, the more pricier the things that they wanted on the list. And then when they're little, they ask for everything, but their list was like just little, baby stuff, blocks and stuff like that. So I make a budget according to their age and the price for
Do
So
you
them.
like
notice that the older they get, the fewer things they want, but
yeah.
it's way more expensive?
Exactly. That's
But they
why.
don't say anything, like say your teenager gets like an expensive electronic gadget or whatever, but then your like younger ones get like 20 cheaper
Little,
things
yeah.
that were the same amount as that electronic thing. Like the older one doesn't say like, oh, they opened like 20
No,
gifts and I only
because
opened one.
no, not at all. Because especially the older one knows too that his is more expensive.
Oh,
And then what we do, like each kid gets like they get like one well, what could technically be considered expensive gift, which usually would say it came from Santa. For instance, like last year, my middle son, he wanted like a Switch. Like that was their one, like his one expensive gift from Santa. And then I think Harley got like a dollhouse, and then Devin got I think he got the new iPhone. So they got like all like a big gift. And then all the rest of the stuff was like just little like things here and there to add to it, because that's already their big expensive gift. So we're not going to keep like buying all these expensive gifts when they got that one, their number one wish list, you know, gift. So
Interesting.
Will you tell us what your budget is per kid, just so that we can kind of get an idea?
well, it kind of, let me see.
$500.
So,
Oh my gosh.
no way for each kid. Heck no. So like for instance, like I think Devin this year, he wants he needs a new laptop because school, and his laptop is like so terrible. So whatever a good laptop would cost, anywhere from, I've seen some as low as like 349 to 500, but that'll be like his main gift. Or he wants a dog, but I don't know how that's looking. So that would be like collectively, if we got a dog, that would be all of their big gift. So it just depends. And then Peyton isn't really asking for much this year, so his budget is a lot smaller, maybe like a $200 budget. Harley maybe like 150. So it just depends on, they haven't did their list yet, and I kind of categorize it to what they're asking for, but I don't go really crazy. I know it may look like I go crazy, but I budget the shit out of everything for real, because I don't want to hear
Good though.
and I have so many people to get things for. That's that boss life. I got to budget. Because then if I'm like, oh my God, I've spent how much for Christmas? I've done that one year.
If we do that, we will like have heart attacks seeing how much we spend.
I've gotten trouble. I've gotten big trouble before when I wasn't budgeting and I was going like super crazy. And then the statement came and we seen how much money that was like missing from there. And my husband was like, you spent this much on Christmas? And that was all she wrote. And then I was like, I gotta get this together. I gotta get this together.
We're definitely conscious about like how much we're spending, but we're not keeping track or setting
and
a
it adds
specific
up,
number.
though.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Track.
We were like that when we had only our first two. We would just kind of wait at like, okay, well, my first one, or Jack has 3 gifts, so we have to get max 3 gifts. Or Jack has 5 gifts, so we have to get max 5 gifts, and one of them's big, so the other one has to get big. So we would kind of wait out like that, and we weren't really good at budgeting. So we would find ourselves like scrambling, like, okay, January we were going to be broke, like we were going to do nothing. So we had to figure out like, okay, how about we save for it gradually throughout the year? Because you know it's going to come every fucking year. You know, this way we're not broke in January and we can do something fun in the snow or something like that. So that's what we're trying to do this year, and we'll let you know if it works. But for our family, we budget around like 100 to 200 per kid, and we don't usually. It's probably 1 to 150 per kid for like a big gift, you know, and then we do the same thing where we say it's from Santa, and then we'll get them like a shared family gift. Like last year, their shared family gift was actually that game. What game did you just say that you bought, Peyton?
The Switch.
Yeah, we bought them a Switch, but it was like a whole family Switch. So this way, the things that we want them to share, we're like, that's a family one, and then each one of them got something bigger that was, you know, and then maybe like a couple little gifts. But we try not to spend too much. And then like you could get away with the little one, like the baby girl, she was only 2 last year, so we didn't get her as much as we got the boys, because
of course
she doesn't care. She doesn't know. All she wants to do is rip the paper, you know. So we really don't. It's not really fair for her, but eventually I'm sure the time will come where we have to bump it up a little bit.
Do you do number amounts? Like, do you do like each kid? Like, I know you mentioned the gifts, like you're like, oh, I got 3 for this one, I got to get 3. Do you set a number of gifts that when you go into it, or no?
It's getting harder because, like you said, the older that they get, they only want one thing, and it's like super expensive. So I think now that he's getting older, we don't really do that. We can probably give him like the one big thing, and then his brother will get a couple of things, and then we'll just explain to him previously before he opens the gift, like on different days, like, hey, but are you sure you want this thing? Because this thing is really expensive and Santa's probably not going to get you 5 more things, you know? So we kind of try to talk them out of it because we're like, this is really expensive. But even though really expensive to me, like I try to keep it within that little budget too, because there was a time my son, he was like, he stopped believing in Santa, but I had told him, well, if you don't believe it, like if you ruin it for your younger siblings, Santa's not going to bring you a gift, you know? So then he was like, okay. So then he got clever and was like, well, I'm going to ask Santa for the most expensive things because I'm not asking you for it. I'm asking Santa. So he's like, I'm asking Santa for a TV. And he's like, I'm good. And then he would like compare like, well, so-and-so got 7 gifts from Santa and they're not even good. And I over here am good and I have manners and all this. And I'm like, listen, Santa doesn't treat everyone equally.
Oh my God.
You see that though, you know, like
they start manipulating
some kids
you
who like just don't like, you know, you just see some things going on and they just get like an abundance.
Some kids that don't deserve it and then they get all these gifts. Yeah.
Yeah. And then your kids are like, you got what? Like,
is your mom crazy? Well, Santa
you
crazy.
just told your mom to shut up. Like, what do you mean?
How did you get that?
Oh my goodness. So, do your kids make a wish list or how do they let you know what they want?
Landon's like barely learning how to write. So like what we've been doing the last 2 years, I want to say now, like, you know, when the ads come in and it's like the Target catalog of all the Christmas toys. And then this year there was an Amazon one. So
and it came early.
Yeah, he saw it and he's like, oh my God, did Santa send this? Or Silly? Because the Silly's his elf. And that's who we say, like, you circle all the things you want on there and you give it to Silly before he goes back to the North Pole and he'll give it to Santa. So for him, it's like circling the things he wants in these catalogs. And he totally knows it's a Target catalog. He'll say it's Target, but I'm like, well, they make it. Santa makes it. But it's funny with the Amazon one. I'm looking at it and I'm like, dude, you circled every single thing.
Of course.
They do. I feel like when you give them that catalog, they'll circle things that they don't even want just because they're like, oh, like that's cool. But if you ask them what they want, it's like 3 things. They want just 3 things. But if you give them a full catalog, they're like, I need an extra controller.
So I tell
need
him,
an extra this.
Yeah, like circle it with a pencil for now or a highlighter. And then we still have like 2 more months till Christmas comes. Like when it gets closer to, like when Silly's actually here, he's going to tell you to only circle 5 things with a dark marker. So he's like circling with like a pencil right now. And then
did he name the elf Silly or where the hell did you guys get that name?
He named it Silly. I think we started it 2 years ago and he named it Silly.
How cute.
And our elf gets a new name every year because we have 3 kids. So each one of them gets to name them. We only have 1 elf, guys. So only 1 elf. And then every year he changes his name depending on which kid it like
gets to name.
Gets
that
turn.
Cool. That's different.
So we've had like a Bart. We had a Steven.
Oh, that's funny.
This year will be Ray's turn. So we'll see what she comes up with. Probably going to be Belle. The way she says Belle, she goes, Bale. Bale.
With a twang, with a country twang.
Yeah. I'm like, where the hell do you get that? What about you, Rhodey? Oh, so wait, how early do you guys make your list then?
He's already started circling because it came in the mail already.
Early. It came super early.
Like the Target one just came, I want to say this last week, but the Amazon one came like last month.
Yeah, it came super early.
But I won't make camp. Like I told him, like when Silly's here, so in December, that's when you have to circle like the 5 with the dark marker. So that'll be his actual, like, I want those ones. Yeah.
Well, that's good.
But with Levi, I mean, he can't really talk, so.
He's a little bit.
Yeah.
Baby. What about you, Ron?
For us, I do almost the same thing with the books, but I have a night in December. Like it's usually in the beginning of December. We'll get together, we'll like turn on Christmas movies, and then I put like all the books that came with all the different stuff, and then we cut them out. They cut out what they want, and then I made them like these little, almost like wish lists kind of tabs, and you like pay, you clip it on there with the clothespin. And so they clip on like their little things that they cut out the magazine, and then that's from their wish list. And we just make it like a fun night of cutting out what they want from Santa.
How
So that's what we
cool.
You're
do.
so cute. You're always so cute
You
with
guys know
your
Christmas is
extra
my,
ideas.
I'm in love with
Jam.
So yours
Christmas.
is in December. So you wait till December? I feel like that's kind of late for
But
you
I
because
listen, no, but I listen through all throughout. It's just more like a fun activity. Usually there have been times when things that they have already cut out and put on the list, I've already had it in the closet. But
oh,
it's
okay.
just like for them, like,
Do you start
um,
having conversations with them
oh
months
yeah,
before to find out
early.
like what they want?
You know that when they start rolling those Christmas ads, like when they closer to Christmas, I feel like right now too in October, and they start rolling those commercials like ongoing, and then like
They
I want
start
this, I
saying
want this.
things.
They start saying, so I'm like taking mental notes, or I'll write down, or and then if I catch it on sale or early or something, we'll grab it. But we just do that clipping thing like as a fun Christmas activity.
That's cool. So for us, we do make a wish list and we'll do it like around November. And it's the same thing. I'll just give them a catalog and I'll give them each a different color highlighter. And I'm like, circle the one that you want and then write your initial on it or whatever. And then I'll take their items that they want and then I'll upload it to an app called Giftster. Have you heard of it?
Oh wow. No.
What?
And
No.
it's pretty cool because the app and this is not a sponsored shout
I mean,
out.
it can be.
It can
Hello.
be, but it's not. So Giftster, so you can basically go on the app, you add a link to the item that they want. It could be from Amazon, it could be from Old Navy, Target, wherever, whatever store, you just add the link and then it automatically like will upload a picture of it of the item and you can select you could add notes to it, like you could select the size and the color that you want, and then you can share it's kind of like a little registry too, but you're not limited to one store. So then you could share that with like their grandparents or anybody else who wants to
Oh.
buy them gifts.
Hmm.
So I would do that I've done that a couple of times to make it easier for the grandparents, and I've done it for birthdays too. um I've just gotten kind of lazy this last year and I didn't do it, but what I noticed is that the app itself, I don't know, it's probably maybe it's improved over the last year because I stopped using it this year, but um it wasn't updating the registry. So like if somebody else bought it, like
It
the other
wouldn't
people
show.
couldn't see. Yeah. So then I would get duplicates and I'm like, damn it, it's supposed to say that it's been sold. So hopefully they fix that. But it was cool because you can put everything in one place and kind of make several
I'm almost
lists.
like an Amazon wish list,
Yeah,
right?
Mhm.
but Amazon, you're limited to just Amazon
Oh,
items.
that's true.
Like this
That's
one, you could
true.
put Target,
Yeah.
Costco, whatever you wanted, so we would do that, and that's pretty cool. Well, so how early do you guys start shopping for gifts?
I start shopping, like I can start shopping as early as like the end of summer, or like whenever they have like a big sale, like Amazon does like Prime Day. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'll do, if they have good deals on there, I'll get some on Prime, which is Prime is usually, was it in October? It was October. Um, so usually toward anywhere from after summer till up until December, I'll start shopping. But I do like to take advantage of, like, I was a big Friday person, Black Friday person. I don't know how that's going to look this year, but
Because of
usually,
COVID. Mm-hmm.
hmm but usually Black Friday, even if I had already like gifts, I still like to go and be out in Black Friday because it
Do
officially feels
you?
like it officially feels like Christmas for me. Like the lot
Crazy.
going in the lines and hearing the Christmas songs, and like I love Black
Did you
Friday.
experience that as a little girl, like with your mom shopping on Black Friday? Like, when did you start Black Friday shopping?
I started Black Friday shopping, I think not until I had Devin. Like, I think I went like the first year that he was born. I remember it was like freezing and I dragged my grandma out with me. And we were standing in line with coffee and stuff. And I just, ever
And
since
that's like
then, I
at
like
three
fell
or
in
four
love with
o'clock in the
it.
morning, right?
Yep, and she was my ride or die girl. She was there with me. I would stand in a line some because I remember it would be so cold, and I'll have her in the car with the heater running, and then I'll be standing in line. And then when we get closer to the front, then I'll tell her to call her and say, "Get
Come.
out, we're in the front," and then she'll get out and go with me. And she loves it. We still like, I don't know, we enjoy it. Like last year, we went Christmas Eve to Kohl's and we like were there like so late just finding like last minute gifts. Because if you go like
It's
later,
cheap.
it's cheaper.
Hmm.
It's way cheaper.
Especially
So
Kohl's.
yes. So
If
we'll
you
do
go
like our little,
later, so like
yes.
in
Like the
December?
last minute
Last
deals.
minute deals are
Really?
yeah.
And they still have good stuff?
Yeah, they have some stuff. Like some of the stuff can be picked through, but you can find some good deals the last
So
minute.
what are your go-to stores, you guys?
Um,
Hmm. Go ahead.
There you go.
Oh, we like Costco with the toys when they
Yeah.
start selling the toys at Costco. Um, Target. I do go to Kohl's, but not like with my husband. Um, he does like the what's the sporting Dick's? Like he loves going there for gifts for some reason. um, what's another the I can't just Amazon. Like last year, everything was Amazon, I want to say. I don't like going out and shopping. Like I'd rather now just order.
I do ordering too, but I mix it up because I want to feel the whole Christmas shopping thing and like be in the stores.
And
But I
the
also do,
rush.
yes, but I also do a lot of my Christmas shopping online too
Online.
because I feel like it's more budget savvy. Because if you take into consideration like you go into the different stores, your gas money, all
Yep.
that, when you have the convenience of just pushing a button at home, you're saving more money.
And you don't have to deal with like the rude people that just push and shove or crowd you in line or,
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
can't
or the
stand
long
that.
lines and stuff.
So when I was like 19, I used to work at Best Buy and I had to work Black Friday and
Best
it was
Buy.
so insane. Like there was people that started lining up like at 5 p.m., the evening
After
before
Yeah.
and
dinner.
having tents and then I remember getting off like around 6 p.m. and then having to come back into work
And
at
you see the
3
same
a.m.
people.
and I would see the line just growing and it was curling into the parking lot. And I just remember thinking like, oh my God, I can't like that wasn't something that my mom ever did, so I just thought everybody was crazy that they were
Yeah.
up this early. And I was so tired. I remember just thinking, and people were so aggressive and it
Mm-hmm.
was just so that's when I made up my mind. I'm never going to do this kind of shopping. And back then online shopping wasn't that big, but I didn't mind waiting because I wasn't big on like sales or anything like that. I guess I didn't really know the value of a dollar, but I I remember one of my aunts, she would do the whole Black Friday and she would get some great deals on like big ticket items. And so, I mean, you get some good stuff there. But we start shopping in like late November and we'll do all of our like most of our shopping's basically almost all of our shopping is online too.
Mhm.
Like we'll do Cyber Monday or Black Friday still has deals online
Mhm.
and then any in-store shopping is like from Costco too. And we'll do like most of the stuff from Amazon just so that I think it's easy, like you said, to kind of keep the budget. But for clothes, I love the sales that Old Navy has. And I love their clothes. They're so cute
They have good
too
stuff.
for the kids.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they always have like 60% off emails here and there. And they actually, give you 60% off on that purchase. You don't have to wait till the next purchase.
Mhm.
So I think that's cool. Where do you guys get the kids' clothes and stuff? Do you guys shop on Amazon for clothes?
No, not for
Uh,
their kids' clothes.
Not for clothes. So like I mentioned, this goes into some budget stuff that I do. I do a lot of like their clothes or shoes actually like on stores like Poshmark. Because they'll
Oh,
have gently used stuff. Sometimes you find stuff on there with tags and you save so much money. eBay is good too. And I also do like local consignment stores. So I'll like usually clean out the kids' clothes towards the end of summer. I'll take their clothes to the consignment store, and they usually either will give you money back or give you credit. And then with that credit, I'll buy them all new things for either for Christmas or whatever it may be. And it's like a swap for their old clothes,
Yeah.
and then I'm still saving. So that's what I do as far as like the budgeting for clothes and gifts and stuff.
and I feel
So,
like you live in like a really nice city, so like the stuff at the consignment stores are actually really good
mhm.
quality.
Yeah, and
Like
they
I've
have
been to some
tags too.
consignment stores that like it didn't look like anything you wanted to
Weren't so
trade in.
nice.
Yeah,
No, and
so
even if I have to travel like to good ones, because I've even went as far as like there's an excellent consignment store in Temecula, and they have like a lot of their stuff in there has tags on it. So I've even lugged my stuff down there just to get the credit back, and then
Shop
shop in
there.
there, and it's like a swap. And then I'm like, oh my God, I saved so much money from getting rid of these clothes to getting them new clothes, and it still have the tags on it, and they don't even know the difference when they open it on Christmas if I got it from a consignment or Poshmark,
Yeah.
and it saved me a lot of money.
do you do Christmas? Like do you give them clothes for Christmas too, or you try to just give them toys?
No, I give them clothes. I give them
You'll give
some
them clothes,
clothes.
even if they don't
Uh,
ask for it?
yeah, even if they don't ask, they for sure almost always have some clothes in there for sure. But
We
they
don't really buy them clothes.
no,
For
I do.
Christmas?
If anything, it's pajamas. Like we'll buy them a Christmas pajama set,
Mhm.
but that's it.
I'll stick like a brand new pack of like underwear in their stockings.
Oh
Like little
yeah, like
stocking stuffers.
socks and
Like
yeah.
I'll stick some socks or some new undies and like a toothbrush. That's the excitement that happens in the stockings. But my oldest son is starting to get into name brand stuff, which is funny because none of us are really into name brand. So, but the kids at school have name brand. So he's like, I want Vans and I need a Van shirt and all this stuff. So he actually has been asking for name
Yeah, the
brand
older they
clothes
get, they
for.
start like Max
Do
is
you?
probably not, huh? Yeah,
No, he doesn't care.
yeah,
No.
that's same
Do
as Peyton.
you? Do you guys get them like what they want on their list, or do you guys get them what you think that they'd like, or do you guys gonna mix it up?
We do a good mixture of both. Um, I mean, they both get, well, Landon really gets a lot of toys, but like this year now that Levi is old enough to play with toys or whatever, like like he hasn't, we don't know what he wants, but we have an idea of like things he likes. But like we're gonna do because we have like the Power Wheels Jeep or whatever, but it's a one-seater and they both sit in it at the same time and they're starting to get too big for it. And we're like, let's just get them like one that they both can fit in, like a nice bigger one, and that'll just be like a
Gift
dual
for
gift for
Christmas.
them. But like we were talking about it just recently because Levi's birthday's like 2 weeks after Christmas. So we're like, oh, let's not get him anything big for Christmas because he's gonna get a bunch of new toys again like 2 weeks later.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm right there with you.
like for Landon, and at this point, Levi's not even gonna know anyways. Like Landon's obviously gonna get more toys this Christmas than Levi will, but Levi won't notice a difference. So we don't, I mean, Landon just always, and like he always loves anything that's dinosaurs and cars. So he may not have asked for it, but then when he sees it, he's gonna be like, oh my God, I love it.
Uh, for us, mine's is a little bit of both. So I try to get them some things that they ask for, and then the other things is like things that I think they would want or that I want them to have. So I do a little bit of both.
It's funny because I try to stick with the things that they actually want because like I told you, I remember being that kid that I put
Didn't
stuff on
get what
the
you
list and I
wanted.
didn't get exactly what I wanted. So, and I remember that disappointment because it's like, I didn't want, like, why did you waste your money? I didn't even want this. I didn't even ask for it, you know? So I try to not do that to them. But my husband, he calls me a Grinch because he'll get them all kinds of stuff that he thought was cool as a kid. He's like, I used to love these. So he'll get them all these extra things. And I'm like,
They
dude,
didn't
they didn't
want it.
even ask for that. Like, just give them the stuff that's on their list that they asked for, you know? And then
But
he's like,
what if
you're
this
such
stuff
a
is,
Grinch.
what if it's like something like super, like what if they have like five super expensive things on their list? You're gonna still get them everything on their list because they want it, or are you
No,
like,
I'm not saying get them everything on their list. I'm just saying pull from the list. Like, I just pull items from the list that it will fall within our budget. But
mhm.
my husband will just walk through the store and be like, oh, I remember this. I used to love this as a kid. And I'm like, kids didn't
It's
ask
Stretch
for
Armstrong. I'm getting
that.
the Stretch
Yeah.
Armstrong for them because
Yeah, the
I
stuff
wanted
that he
one.
gets, I'm like, do you want this or is it really the kids, you know? And then I feel bad because I feel like they're not really even stoked for it. Like this year, hopefully they don't hear this, but like this year he bought them a keyboard because they were into playing with my nephew's keyboard. But I'm like, never did they
Like
ask for a
a
keyboard.
piano keyboard.
Yeah, Costco was having like a legit keyboard that will like
Yeah.
record and stuff. But I'm like, it's not even near their list. Like they've never even mentioned it. And he bought them, and I'm like, that it may not go the way that you wanted it to go.
Have you guys ever tried to convince them to want something? Like I know like Landon's circling all these things on the like catalogs, but I'm like because I like, you know, like we want to get them the dual power wheel thing so that they can put both fit. I'm like, what about this thing? And I'm pointing at it. Like, have you guys ever done that in the
This
past with the
one's
kids?
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when they seem to ask for the same thing
Yeah.
every year. And I'm
Mhm.
like my son, I feel like he just gets bored, my middle one, and he's like, I'll just take Legos. And I'm like, you don't even play with Legos anymore. Why are you just gonna keep circling Legos? There's
I'll
other
just
things
take
out there
Lego.
in this world other than Legos. So, but I feel like he just kind of like, I'll just take another Lego set, and he makes his brother build them. So he's
Oh,
yeah. So with him, I try to like,
convince
what
them.
about this new
Yeah.
thing? How
Mhm.
about this? Yeah, give them options that are
That's so
different.
funny. Okay, I don't feel so bad.
And you, Roni?
I feel like they're run out of things. It's sad, but it's like I feel like Peyton wanted that Switch so bad that he was like, I feel like I don't know what I want this year. I wanted the Switch and Santa got it, so I'm just happy with that. I'm like, what?
Oh, good for
I'm
him.
like, so
He's grateful. I
I'm like,
love
oh my
it.
goodness. I'm like, you can't think of anything, and he's maybe some games, but let me think about it.
So
So
do you guys swap out their old toys? So I know, Roni, you mentioned like you clean out their closet and you
mhm,
get rid of their old clothes for
mhm,
new clothes, but do you do that with toys too? Do you
yeah,
ever swap out old toys for the new? And that's
yeah.
every year too.
Yeah, but I usually swap out their toys like almost in the beginning of the year, and I'll either give them to other kids or take them to Goodwill, um, or sometimes we just donating them basically. But I do
Mhm.
that because I almost clear it out for the Christmas stuff because then it just accumulates to so much stuff. So much
So do
stuff.
you guys give the list, their wish list to their grandparents too, or like people who usually buy them gifts, or do you guys not?
Only like, I mean, only if they ask. Like my brother will ask, like, "Hey, what has he been asking for this year or whatever?" But I don't send it out to anyone really unless they're asking for it.
Hmm. How do you keep them from getting like doubles, like, or getting the things that you want? Do you tell them like, well, I'm going to get him this from the list, so
Yeah,
this is still available kind of
yeah,
stuff?
we do that. Like I'll say,
Okay.
or even like for each other, like when we buy gifts for like when I buy gifts for my brother and sister-in-law, like I'll text my sister-in-law, be like, "Hey, what does my brother want that you're not gonna get?" And
Hmm.
I'll just do that with them too.
That's cool.
Same for us. Well, the grandparents will ask like what they want, and we share the list, but I make sure that I tell one grandparent, like, don't get this because the other grandparent wants to get it. And then also, like, their uncle will call and want to know what they want. So I kind of have to, like, divide the list, which kind of works in my favor because then we're limited to the gifts that we have to get. And then they get them from so many other people that we don't have to get as many because I know that they're already going to get a ton from like my aunt, their uncle, my grandma. So we just limit the gifts that we get them. Actually, we only get, each kid gets 5 gifts from us. And then all those other gifts that they usually get are from like everybody else, like, because they get them from the grandparents, both grandparents, uncles, aunts, cousins. So then it looks like a whole bunch of gifts, but we just limit ours to 5 gifts per kid.
We do something similar too, because we'll kind of give a link or tell each parent or grandparent, like, hey, they want this. And I've been trying to get smarter about it and give them different items that they want so they don't get them the same thing, because I've had that happen. But it's cool because we see them before they open our gifts. So they'll see those items first and they're like, oh, I got this for my list and I got this for my list. And then we'll save the bigger ticket items so that they can kind of have like the grand finale. But
Yeah.
I honestly, like, I think it's pretty awesome because I feel like they usually do get almost everything on their list between their grandparents and us, you know? So
And
that I
it
feel like
saves you
we're
also.
freaking lucky compared to when we were kids.
And it's
You
saving
know?
you too because you don't have to buy it.
Yeah.
And then,
Exactly.
so it's
Yeah.
definitely saving.
So where do you guys hide your toys? The toys so that the kids can't find them and when you shop early?
We used to hide it in like our laundry storage room, but now like Landon's starting to go in there a lot because he knows there's toys in there. Like throughout the year, we just keep toys in there that like if they both get a bunch of toys for their birthday, like I don't give them all their toys. So we like throw the extra ones in there and then just bring them out throughout the year. So like
You don't
he'll
give
earn
them all
them.
their toys that are from other people or
Yeah.
from you guys?
Like for their birthdays, they'll
Okay.
get an
Too.
abundance of toys. And it's like, I don't want him to open them all because then, like, he'll open 20 toys and only play with 2. And then the other 2, like the other 18, just are sitting there. So we just let him open X amount. Like, he'll open the gifts to see what they are, but he doesn't open the packaging and we just put them in the storage. And then throughout the year, like, we'll let him like earn it or whatever. And so he knows there's toys in there. So we are not hiding them in there this year. I think we'll either throw them in the garage or keep them in the car. I don't know. We haven't, like, there's one in our closet right now. And then there's one in this office closet where they never go in. So
We used to hide ours in the closet, and then that backfired on us because when Devin did still believe in Santa, I think actually that's what got me caught, is because he found some stuff in the closet, and then on Christmas morning it said it was from Santa, and he was like, wait a minute, that was in the closet that I saw. So now we hide them like in our garage, and no one usually goes in those closets in the garage. So that's our go-to hiding place now, because I'm sure they look through all the closets in here.
We
So I
did
have
the
to be.
same as kids. Like I remember our
Hmm.
parents leaving them in the back of the car forever, or like hiding them in the shed, and we'd go through them and see whose is what. Or like we would always. It was like a game to us. Like, okay, they went shopping. We know they went shopping, so we're gonna freaking go looking for them. But we hide ours in the attic. We try to hide ours in the attic little by little because the kids don't really go up there. So,
Do you guys
but
forget about the gifts? Because I know my mother-in-law hides gifts and then she'll forget about them. And then like the next Christmas or for her birthday, she finds it and like, oh my God, I was looking for this. I forgot where I hid it or something.
I'm trying to get better at that because I think that if you don't keep track of what you already bought somebody, especially when my husband
oh,
buys things that are not even on the list, it's hard to keep track of it because you're like, this wasn't even there. So I'm trying to get better at figuring out like what he bought and then making a list so that I can kind of tally it up and stuff.
Do you guys give like your bigger, expensive gifts to the kids from Santa or from you?
From Santa.
Oh, we don't do that. We do the opposite.
So when they get older, I think, I mean, once they stop, obviously, they believing in Santa, then I won't do it that way. But right now, I feel like they have like the Christmas magic and they're just so excited and they just want to believe in Santa. So I'm like, it's from Santa.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I remember being younger and watching Cat Williams. Did you guys ever watch his stand-up where he was like, no, I bought you this. Like did you ever see those stand-ups?
No, I didn't see that one.
I loved it. It was so good. But he was like, I'm not gonna have my kids believe that some man came down a chimney and brought him all of these toys when I was the one who worked hard for this, you know? And so I remember thinking the same thing, like, yeah, I'm not gonna have my kids believe in Santa, but they just did as like little toddlers, and I wasn't gonna burst their bubbles and be like, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
He believes in Santa, but we just choose to, like, that's how my husband thinks. Like, I worked very hard to like pay for that expensive ass gift. But then too, I think like when Landon was younger, somebody had mentioned it, or I think I read it in an article, like, don't give the expensive gifts from Santa because you want them to know that you earned it. And then like, what if they go to school and the other kids are less fortunate and your kid said, oh, Santa gave me whatever, this expensive ass gift, and the other kid only got like socks from Santa. So like, how do you explain that to your kids? So ever since then, we're just like, he still gets things from his list from Santa, but they're the less expensive things. But like the most expensive one is like from us.
See, so I was always curious. I had it flipped the other way, where my kid was the one that was getting less things from Santa, and their cousins were getting more from Santa when my oldest was really little. And so he would be like, "Well, how come she got so much from Santa?" You know, and I did it. So every family is going to do it different.
Yeah.
So I actually kind of prefer not opening our gifts in front of having everybody over and other families, because I've noticed that like
the kids start comparing
even more out, you know, for Christmas, or everyone's budget's going to be different. And then they start comparing and feeling like, was I not good, you know? For Santa thought that I wasn't good. So I just kind of like, when we go to my husband's family's house, whatever gifts they get him is the gifts that they can open there. We don't bring all of our gifts Santa for them to, because we've done that when they were younger, and it just kind of backfired, because then it's like, how come they got more, you know? And I'm like, I don't even want to deal with that. You're lucky you got anything. Shut up. So basically, the earlier that you start saving for the gifts, the less stressful it will be. So hopefully you guys can save some money. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us. If you want to catch up on our previous episodes, visit mamasmimosas.com, where you'll get access to all of our podcast show notes, our YouTube videos, and our private Facebook group, where we chat with you about each episode topic and host live question and answers with our favorite mom tribe. Can't wait to see you there.